and we are live for another wonderful Wisdom Circle, another incredible topic of being you, living life authentically. I love these, and I have to thank and honor Jennylee for bringing this amazing topic to Sacred You and the world. So, Jennylee, I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce yourself, the topic, and why is it so relevant for you, if you wish to share that. And then these amazing women who have joined us to have a wonderful conversation. Thank you very much, and I will be back at the end. Thank you.
Perfect, Sophia. Thank you so much. Good morning, good evening, everyone. My name's Jennylee Taylor. I live in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia, which is about 2 hours north of Sydney, and it's getting quite cold here at the moment. I just love this topic, being you, living life authentically. This is number 8 in the series, and we've had some really rich conversations with other women for the last 7 series. I am a breathwork practitioner and trainer, and I work with people at the deeper level, actually going, the work is very somatic, going into the cellular memory of people's bodies to work out what they need to release to go for more life. I'm also an author, and I take women walking in the outdoors to rediscover the power of themselves. So yeah, I just love this topic of being you. It's been a big part of my journey. Today we're going to focus on coming home to the body as a truth and embodied alignment, and what that looks like in terms of being you in this body. And often we get invited to look outwards all the time, and we're influenced by everything outside of us, and get stuck in our head a lot, and we often forget to take care of our bodies, to listen to our body's intuitive self, and to really use our body as a resource for guiding us into how to be you going forward. So I'm here with some beautiful women this morning, this evening, and I'm going to invite them to come in and introduce themselves, and then we'll get into the topic. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Jennylee. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Sarah Vassallo here. I'm an author, motivational speaker, and the founder of Embolden Adventures, which is an encouragement platform that inspires personal, professional, and spiritual development and transformation.
Beautiful. Thank you. Candida.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Candida, and I'm in Adelaide, South Australia. It's very grey and rainy here today, has been for the past week, very stormy. I call myself a multimodality therapist. I do a range of stuff. I'm a hypnotherapist, a spiritual life coach. I do many hands-on healing modalities. I run spiritual retreats, and I'm a yoga teacher, and all of what I do is about guiding people to who they truly are, because who we truly are, I believe, never really goes anywhere. It's always there. It's just covered up by stuff, by life. And so that's the crux of my work, is to guide people, and whatever's happening with them, whether that be like terribly stressful situations that causes physical stuff, as you said, getting back into your body and all of that kind of thing, however that may look for different people.
So, beautiful. We're all in the right place. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Candida. Joanne.
Nice. Hello, everyone. We're very, very aligned, all of us. I feel that, I'm an emotion and energetic empowerment coach for women, although I do have one man. And I created a few programs, Empower You and Coming Home to You. So very, 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 very aligned with what we're talking about today. I've also been the author of a book series, A Journey to Riches, and wrote a chapter in a gift in challenges. So through my own adversity and journey, I've been able to support other women to come home to themselves. Practitioner of many modalities, but mainly NLP and hypnosis, a bit like Candida, and a regression therapist. So I've been in the health and wellness and spiritual nutrition, all the things for over 38 years. So I also use frequencies to deepen the transformational healing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this discussion. Most of the women I work with, most women are running in stress, overwhelm, and anxiety. So we've got a lot of women to help out there. Thank you very much for having me.
Fantastic, Joanne. I think we've got a great team here this morning. I was just remembering that one of the sessions we had some time ago was around, I talk about in my work, the 5 bodies, and not only looking at our mental body, but also our physical body, our spiritual body, our energetic body, and our emotional bodies. And this kind of is a step beyond that to go, often we're looking after our thoughts, and we've been told to trust our thoughts, or taught to trust our thoughts more than our bodies. But our bodies are full of, they're a massive library of information of every experience we've ever had in life. And so what I'm interested to know from you women this morning is, what helped you begin listening to the wisdom of your body, and if in fact that's a truth for you, and what changed when you did? Would anyone like to start the conversation? Yeah, Candida, thank you.
Yeah, well, this brings me back to, excuse me, many, many years ago, because I've been doing this work for about 34 years now. And one of the very first things that I learned was that thoughts are things. And I was given a book by Swami, somebody who wrote this way back, like in the early 19th century, about how thoughts are things. And then I didn't really know anything about much at all, because I wasn't into that was sort of my beginning into the spirituality realm, and and the understandings and all of that. And it took me a while to sit with that. And I remember we were on holiday and I was on a beach and I was reading this book, Thoughts Are Things, and trying to get my head around it. So that was my beginning. And so now the most powerful thing, or one of the most powerful things I think that I can embody myself, but also pass on to others, is that every thought we have, like we have more than 70 trillion cells in our body, and they respond to every single thought we have. So if we have like a negative downward sort of thought, all of those cells are going to contract. And if we have an uplifting thought, all of those cells are going to expand. And now once we understand that expansion means health and wellness, so everything can flow, like energy can flow, oxygen, lymphatic fluid, all of that can flow, that equals wellness. And so the opposite of that is unwellness, the contraction, because everything is tight and so things can't flow. So I know we can't do that every minute of the day, but if we have that awareness, at least at some point every day, it's going to really make a big difference in our life. Excuse me. Just being aware of our thoughts and the effect that they have on our body and our life. And then not only that, but everybody else around us, because we know everything is energy, right?
Yeah. And that's so true about how, I mean, all of those 5 bodies are linked, and how that actually, the thoughts, what came up for me just then was, what are some of the signals that where your thoughts might be off track? What would your body be telling you? And there might be tension, there might be contraction, you might start breathing more shallowly. There's a number of signals that the body gives us as information to tell us that we're off track in what we're doing in our lives. In your case, what you're saying, Candida, is in what we're thinking. Yeah. Joanne, did you want to come in?
Yes, certainly. I love that. I love that, the way of thinking that you explained there, Candida. My first book that was introduced to me let me get my words together. My first book that was introduced to me when I first went on my journey was when I was left as a single mum of 4 children. I was pregnant with my 4th, and a friend of mine handed me the Louise L. Hay book, You Can Heal Your Life. And that just started on my journey to, oh, wow, right, if this is true, what's possible for me? And I sort of used that, over the years as a little, I guess, a Bible, because it had so much truth in it. And even though I was working on the emotional body at the time, because I felt like I was in a deep, deep, deep hole, deep depression, there's been times when, because how she talks about not only changing your life, but she connects all the ailments and all the conditions that we create in our body to our, I guess, our thoughts, like Candida was talking about, but how we can heal them ourselves. So I've sort of been I have been a practicer of that ever since, in the last like 38 years. And I now know and believe and do, everything's energy. Is like, recently I had a hip problem, like, oh, okay, let's have a look at that. So it's an opportunity for me to still heal parts of myself, the shadow bits that we don't always find. And I use that as an opportunity to go deeper and see what's going on for me emotionally, because it always manifests physically. And then on Sunday, I'd had a massage on Saturday, and on Sunday she worked a lot on my shoulder because I said it was a bit tight. Sunday, it just blew up and it was so painful. And I was like, wow, it's almost like she's moved stuff up and out. So I spent 2 days, like, it's gone, just looking at what was going on in my shoulder, and what was that all about. So I think just it always manifests in our body. Everything manifests in our body. And for me, I use that as an opportunity to go deeper and find out more about what's happening for me and my emotional body as well. So, the emotion being connected to the physical and allowing that to move through and out of me. And sometimes it can take a week, sometimes it can take, like recently, a couple of days. And it's so powerful when we look at it that way and move the energetics, isn't it? So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that the body is like, if we're prepared to listen to our body, which a lot of people don't, we're going to talk a bit further down the track about how we get disconnected from our body. When we're prepared to listen to our body as something that's going to give us information about where we're actually at, then you can start going, like the pain in the shoulder that you described, then you can start going, well, okay, I might have pulled my shoulder when I reached up to get something, but is there something else going on, especially if it's longer term? And asking those questions around, how is my thoughts impacting in that? And Louise Hay is a great resource. I love her work too. I use it quite often. In fact, when I have pain in my body, it's probably the first place I go. I go, okay, what else is going on here? Yeah. But it's really interesting if you're prepared to really listen to your body. And let's face it, that with the pace of life these days, a lot of people just forget about that, or think that taking care of the body is all about going for a morning run or swim or eating more nutrition, which it is. Yet it's actually, so a friend of mine actually yesterday called the body the listening stick. I just love that term. It's the listening stick. If we're prepared to use our body as a listening stick to go, okay, what else do I need to know about this? Yeah, it's a very powerful way to look at being you and being authentically you, because it's actually listening. Yeah. Sarah, did you want to jump in and say something? You're doing a lot of nodding there. Yeah.
I'm thinking, because I don't know precisely when that shift happened. I do know the 40 plus years of my life, I've been living in the analytical world. I was conditioned and grown up as an engineer and a business person in finance, and working in these roles that required my brain to work. The analytic, the logic, the proofs. And so that sort of, I think that's the left brain. And then the right brain was turned off in a lot of ways, which I think drove me to my need to stop everything and change my life and transform in a very epic way. Although there were signs along the way, I never really was into dance. I was never really into, sort of the more feminine ways that you are connecting with an embodied sort of spirit and a connection, with the mind and the soul. I played sports. I played softball. I played basketball. I played soccer, and it was very brute force, aggressive. And so the only time I think where it was starting to wake up a little bit was scuba diving.
Mm.
And when you're neutrally buoyant underwater in the ocean, right? The ocean has many healing properties, especially all the electromagnetic currents and the minerals and the beautiful sort of wise animals that are under there as well. And I remember a moment I was in Cocos Island, which is 360 nautical miles offshore in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Costa Rica. And it's the last 2% pristine oceans in the world. It's a beautiful, beautiful place underwater. Jacques Cousteau's favorite dive site is there, called Alcyon. And I remember having a moment, I still remember it to this day, even now, where I'm just swimming neutrally buoyant and I was aware of my body. I was aware of everything, the fin, the just the most simplest like turn, the most subtlest of movement. And only then did I could feel my psychic gifts begin to open up, like my telepathic senses. I didn't have to see my dive buddy, who was my brother. I just had, no, he actually wasn't on that trip, a different dive buddy. But I knew that someone was looking for my attention. And I just naturally started to be embodied, being one symbiotically with the medium that was the water. And
Mm.
so eventually, over time, I started, becoming more and more spiritually, I guess, growing, learning, understanding, only until my 40s, which is now this era, when I finally felt embodied. And I'm finally feeling like I know how to trust my intuitive hunches, the ear that's ringing right now, the goosebumps that come up, the hunches in my stomach. And I think a lot had to do with, the Wisdom Keeper work and working with plant medicines and even writing my book, which is about to come out. It was channeled. It was as if I put myself into the moments of what the book is about, the work with the Wisdom Keepers in the rainforest. And so that to me is, I think, the wisdom now with using your body as an instrument, using your body as the medium that writes, the medium that communicates, the medium that actually expands in consciousness and awareness in a better way than just a textbook sort of Excel spreadsheet, analytical sort of way of doing things. That's a framework and a really like inorganic construct, if you will. So I think the embodiment is more organic and more spiritually tuned and a lot more wiser than our brain alone can do.
Yeah, and I love that you talk about that and what the body can signal to you in terms of your intuition. And it's interesting when you can land in that space where you start to trust that and actually trust what your body's saying. Because, my journey is in 2012. I stepped out of corporate life because I thought that I just wanted to change. But when I did that, my body just went, oh, thank God, you're not there anymore. And it literally collapsed. And at the time I was, walking a lot, I was gymming a lot. I was, my life was very full mentally and physically. And I thought I was taking care of myself. I was eating well, I was taking care of my body. Those outward signs where, you build a bit of muscle, you feel fit, you're feeling energetic. But when I fell in a heap, I realized that the signs had been there for probably 2 years. Like I would go to work and all of a sudden at 9 a.m. I'd be thinking, oh man, I'm really tired. My body feels really tired. I just want to actually go to sleep under the desk. But then the mind takes over and says, no, you can't do that because you're a responsible person and you have to, all this, and my knees were starting to get sore and my feet were starting to get sore. I just didn't listen to any of it. And then, so eventually it became like a Mack truck and I had to listen. And so that was kind of my first example of, how important it is to actually listen to the signs and signals of the body. And then, Sarah, you talking about the next step for me was that when I do that, then how my what's my body doing when I react to things, when life comes in and says, you know, oh, I've got a really great opportunity for you here. What's my body do? Is it a hell yes from the heart, or is it a scrunching it up in the stomach going, no, that's not for you? And starting to listen to that intuitive, the finer senses of the body and how it can really guide you along the way was the next revelation for me, I guess. And now it's just like my brain will say one thing and then I go, okay, I'm just going to double check that now. What's my body actually doing? And it's a mindfulness. It's a mindfulness game. It actually takes practice to start listening and then trusting that. Yeah. Candida, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I love what you have said, Jenny and Sarah. And Sarah, I identify a lot with your experience under the water, because I had a very similar experience while snorkeling. Now, I have a very deep water. I love the water. I'm always in the water, have always been, but cannot go beyond my neck. And I had an experience in Fiji where this Fijian guide decided that he would take me, and he said he would hold my hand, and I just said yes, and we went way deep into the ocean. I have never, I go into this amazing, I teach people to meditate, to be relaxed, and all the things I know cannot get me through that phobia of the deep water, right? I managed to do that with him. But like you said, Sarah, I was aware of everything. I was aware of my panic. I was aware of the beautiful fish. I was aware of the deep calm. The sense of deep calm and being held was phenomenal, but I was aware of all of that. And I was aware that I was aware of all of that. It was just amazing experience. So thank you. But you were saying something else, Jennylee. I got caught up in that story. What was the thing you were saying? You were saying something about...
We can come back to it if you like, Candida.
It was really relevant.
Yeah. We can come back to it. Joanne, did you want
to... yes. I get it. The work situation, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I had a very similar experience to you, and it was around about 2010. I worked in the school system. Like, I've been a single parent since my kids were like 2 and 7, and now they're 52 and 47, you know. But I worked in a school, and I was lucky enough to have principals that believed in what I did. I was able to bring yoga and meditation and stress management to teachers and principals and students. But that wasn't my main job. My main job was the principal's assistant doing school stuff, right? So sort of corporate stuff. And I got to a point where I was going to work every day and there was nothing wrong with the workspace. As soon as I got there, I started to feel like I was going to pass out. And I started to feel like I couldn't breathe. I thought, what's wrong with me? And I'd have to go outside, and there was a huge school, so I'd do like a few laps around the school, get some fresh air and come back. But it was getting worse and worse and worse every day. And the thing is that I listened to that. Had I not listened to it, I think something really, my body would have done something more to make me listen. But it was this feeling of couldn't breathe, getting clammy, and I knew that I can't be here anymore. But it made me, and I was on my own at the time. So, and I think it was just after a divorce. Yeah, it was just after a divorce. There was like financial stuff going on, and it was a big decision to leave a secure job and do only my business, because I was doing my business part-time then, as well as the school stuff. And I knew I had to take a big leap, because my body just wasn't coping. So I'm really grateful that I managed to get that courage from somewhere to take the financial leap, but also the belief that I can grow my business and I can survive, and do what I love and still, survive in the world. So it's very interesting when we look back, on what we actually do, because I think we remember all the things that they're not so great about what we do and don't do, but we don't take a lot of time, I think, to acknowledge just how amazing we are and what we have actually done.
And listening to your
bring
body.
Us to,
and listening, sorry to cut in there, but listening to your body in that moment to say, actually, I trust my body more than I trust the logic of staying with a job that's going to help me right now. that is a key factor, is actually starting to trust that, because, you know, a possible scenario could have been that you stayed there, let your fear of not having enough money override that, stayed there and actually gotten sicker, because that's what happens when we stay in these environments that our body's saying, you don't actually, it's not serving you to be there. There's a bigger picture here. You might be focused on this in the moment, but there's a bigger picture, and often that can lead to, you know, long-term stress, long-term, you know, what in fact happened to me was, on the outside I looked fine, but my adrenal glands were overloaded, and I didn't realize that they were just switched on the whole time. So that has led to thyroid conditions and all sorts of things. So there's this whole internal process going on as well around the body. And when we can go, okay, I'm going to start and listen, and maybe there's other options, and I'm just going to trust myself. Your body is your own, so trusting yourself, and just being you and taking that leap. Sometimes it is a leap of faith, but you know, you can always, if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to find another job, can't you? But you can't get your body back. It takes a long time to reinvigorate your body once you get to that crisis point. Yeah. Joan, you wanted to jump in. Yeah, on silent.
Similar to what you were just speaking to came through around, you know, so many women that come to me get to that crisis point. Like, it's just so common, and I think this discussion is so important, because why wait till you get there? Why not start listening now before it gets to that point, and developing the skill and the tools and recondition the conditioned mind, you know, rewire it all before you get to that point. So two things, unlike you ladies, I've never had a 9 to 5. But I had 4 children on my own for many, many years. And I've always worked from home around them, except for in crisis moments when money was lean and I'd had to, you know, go and sell roses in cafes at night, and to bring extra money on the table, talk to people on the street about my health and nutrition products, to put extra food on the table, keep a roof over their heads. So it was a different type of stress, I guess, of always having to provide, be the sole provider. And the other thing is, I've never, and I really, 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 really want to, after hearing both of your stories about being in the ocean. Like, that is my dream. I'm a Cancer, I'm a water baby, and I love the water. And it's been in my vision to do that. And I couldn't imagine how extraordinary that, hearing it from you has made me even more aligned to go and do that. Maybe not in winter, but in spring this year. So thank you for sharing those stories, because I think that would be a brilliant way to, number one, overcome the fear, right? Because I can feel the fear attached to that, and trusting, you know, that deeper part of myself. But I think that was just the inspiration I got from your stories as well. So thank you for that. And yeah, just don't wait to get in crisis.
Yeah, I love the water stories, because immediately when you talked about that real visceral, like embodied feeling of being in the water, and you know, being in close proximity to, I mean, the water is another living being to me, and with all those, you know, the energies that run through it. But because I do a lot of work with birth memory, and it immediately took me into that. Being in the water, or the amniotic fluid in the mother's womb, is the first experience of feeling something outside of ourselves, really, and being in touch with the environment around us, is being in the water. So it's not surprising that it has such an impact on people. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know, that same, so in terms of how you start to get more embodied and really take notice of your body, because I hear a lot of people say, you know, I just jumped out of myself, like I'm not in touch with my body, or I feel numb, or, you know, there's no sense of, what do you mean listen to your body? I can't feel it in the first place, that kind of thing. So how do you do that? It's actually for me, it's about taking a bit of space and allowing yourself to just sit and have an awareness of the environment around you. Like we're sitting here today, but there's the air that's touching us. There's the wind that's blowing. We might be in the air conditioner, or, you know, there'd be plants around. Just getting that sense of being in a body in time and space. And then going, okay, I'm sitting here, and start from the feet upwards or the head down, and go, okay, how's my head feeling? Is there pain there? You know, what is there is it itchy? You know, and start to really tune into what your body's doing. Am I actually feeling a little nauseous today, and I was just overrode it because I've got so many things to do? You know, really start to sit with this whole physical being that we are, because it's, you know, this body is really important. It's what's bringing spirit or our passion or our purpose into form in this lifetime. So start to do that. Yeah. Has anyone got something around their journey, around any practices that you might have daily? Or yeah, Sarah? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to add to that, Jennylee, and that's absolutely right. Like, you know, how do you know to navigate, right? Versus how the world around you is gripping you, right? And I think the practice for me, I've been learning for a while now, is the envisioning of chakras in my meditation, and then seeing as if I have this lens that goes within my body. So I was taught by one of my first spiritual teachers about, you know, closing my eyes, getting grounded, getting my feet on the floor, and having my spine straight, and imagining a cord or a big waterfall of golden white light coming down and just continuing to cascade through me all the way to the bottom. And over time, I've built upon that, where I would then take the grounding energy from Mother Earth, Pachamama, as coming from below, and connecting it from the light from above, and locking it in like a Lego in the middle where the heart is, because there's 7 chakras, that's the middle one. And so now you're grounded and you're tethered. And it's almost as if it's like that exact experience I had in the underwater scuba diving experience, where I'm neutrally buoyant. The top's got me, the bottom's got me. Now I'm, you know, nicely, I guess, held, if you will. And then what I'll do is I'll go within and I'll start imagining what my essence is inside. Like I see the crown chakra and I try to clean it. I try to make sure it's all nice and sparkly clean, and then it radiates out in a ball. And I see it's purple. And then I continue with the third eye, white, radiate out, clean, you know, and then, you know, it's a ball of burst of energy. And same with the blue, the throat chakra, and the green, the heart chakra, the yellow, the solar plexus, the orange, the sacral, and the red is the root chakra. And then I imagine a big torus field, a ball of energy, and I put myself in a pyramid of power, and I'm cloaked, and I have my scuba diving neoprene wetsuit, and now I'm protected for the day. But that took a long time with my daily meditations to really understand the internal workings of my spiritual and energetic self. And I think that's ultimately where true empowerment lies. Instead of saying the outside world's controlling me and I'm a victim to it, no, I stand strongly and solidly in my, you know, the chakras that are flowing, you know, without any sort of blocks. And ultimately, when I'm on stage speaking, imagine this for yourself, when you're seeing a sea of eyes and it's you at a microphone, and that's some people's worst nightmare. But in my case, it's easy, because all I'll do is I will speak from the solar plexus and from the sacral instead of from here and here. And I think that's why people get really tensed up and grip and they panic and I don't know what I'm going to say. My mind goes blank and everyone hates me and judging me. No, I speak here. I'm grounded. I'm flowing, just like I'm doing right now. I didn't plan to say this. It's just coming out of me because I'm confident, I'm embodied, and I'm trusting the flow. And it's coming from here, this better sort of balance of power, instead of up here where I'm all disbalanced or unbalanced.
Yeah, that piece about coming from the flow rather than it just dropped in that, coming from that flow, you can speak with confidence, and because it's something that's coming from deep within rather than, I've got to put my mind to this and make sure I say the right words and am I on topic, and all those things that come in that the mind tries to take over, and people actually feel that. They feel the difference because this body, we're all in these human bodies for the purpose to feel in this lifetime. So if we're not feeling and not listening to our body, then we're really doing ourselves a disservice by not taking on the full diversity and capacity of what we can be as a being, you living life authentically. So I love that piece. Thank you, Sarah. And there's a big difference between when you feel like you're in the flow and someone says, "Oh, can you just repeat that?" And you go, "I actually don't know what I said. It just came out." You have to be in the moment and listen to get it. Yeah, I love that. Anyone else? Jo, Candida, did you want to?
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Go, Jo.
You go, Joanne. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I just love that, Sarah, because it is a practice, isn't it? It's something we have to embody, something we have to do every single day. And for me, that's been difficult to just sit in meditation. In the beginning, I needed to be guided through all of those processes and to fully really drop in. And I spent like twice 2 lots of 7 years in different spiritual schools that were teaching that, and still it was really hard, but I knew that I needed it. And the piece around speaking from your truth, from your heart, and not being severed from here was a big one for me. And I remember I used to speak a lot, but I used to speak in fear, and I was speaking wasn't from me, it was from my wounded self, the trauma I hadn't actually discovered or uncovered or gone, wanted to see. And it wasn't until I moved all of that and did the deeper work that I was able to speak confidently from my truth. And it's a shame Leanne's not here today, but she talks about everything about what you were talking about, coming from your center, from your power, your feminine energy, your womb space, dropping in and being present and letting it come. It's almost like you're aligned in that space, even when you can drop in. And they call it I did that work too with that Leanne did. It's that light bulb in your center and letting that shine out and vibrate that energy out to speak. But one of the practices that I love and I teach my clients is, because a lot of them don't sleep well either, and that's a big thing. How can you be in alignment when you're walking around like a zombie and carrying the weight of the world? Is a good yoga nidra, all right, because it takes you through the body parts. If you're just starting out, for people watching just starting out, a good yoga, 15 minutes in the afternoon or in the morning to start your day, walking through the body parts, really being in the body to bring you into the body. For me, that's like an 8-hour sleep. And I was awake at 2 a.m. today with all the downloads, and ladies know what that's like, but I'm still awake. I'm still functioning because I know how to harness that energy and use it to, create rather than exhaust me now. And it is a practice. It's really is truly a practice, and maybe easy for some, but for me it was really, really difficult. But I was determined, to find myself and heal the traumas and heal all the parts of me that weren't serving me. So yeah, a good yoga nidra, everyone.
Yeah, and that, coming home to the body and finding a way where you can actually, for some people, it's actually giving yourself permission to reconnect to the body. Because, let's face it, we all have experiences and we all develop belief systems and fears and all things around actually how our body has responded to those experiences in the past, because we don't like to feel pain. That's why you can be a 4-year-old and go off a jump like a crazy and and not do that. But at 51, you might go, actually, I know that really hurts when I hit the ground, so I'm not going to keep doing that, because our body logs that as well. But it's also when we can work through those fears and limitations and wounds, as you call them, freeing the body up to actually feel them. Because in my work, it's all about the reason we're stuck there, the reason it manifests, say, in a sore shoulder, is because that energy is stuck there and hasn't been released. So being able to release that energy of discord and unease and that kind of thing helps free the body up as well. Sarah talked about the whole body being in alignment and feeling it, freeing up the energy to move freely through the chakras. Well, you have to do the work. If you're looking for a quick fix on this, you probably won't get it. It actually requires some purpose. I mean, some people can, some people can't, but it requires some purpose. And in that purpose and pointed work you do, it's actually about loving yourself, because being you and living life authentically is about coming home to who you are as a person, loving yourself for who you are, taking care of the body, taking care of every aspect of you, allowing yourself to give yourself space to do all the things you want to do, and coming back to the body and actually starting to be able to feel again is a big piece of that. Because when we block out the pain pieces, we also block out love, joy, and all the other great things as well. So we don't feel that in our body. Candida, would you like to jump in there?
Yes, thanks, Jennylee. I love what everybody has said. And just getting back to how do we know what we're feeling, a practice that I've been doing and that I do in my yoga class, I do it just about every client as well, is because I believe the truth is in our heart, right? It's not in our mind. Our mind will tell us so many different things and argue and all of that, but the actual truth lies within our heart. And so there's a practice that I do, it's called heart-mind coherence. You may have heard of it. And it only takes about 5 minutes, where we just begin with the breath, but just move the attention from the mind into the heart space, and then bring in one thing that we're grateful for. And that feeling of gratitude, you can actually feel that if you just bring in one thing, even if it's for, a beautiful plant that you've got. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations, right? And you will feel that. And then I just take them through expanding that feeling with each breath until it expands through your body. And then it expands outside of your body, 3 feet in every direction. And you're actually sitting or lying in your own heart energy. And when you're in your own heart energy, then you've quieted the mind enough so that the feelings will come up. Because when we can hold more light in our body, it pushes up the stuff that's not true, the stuff that we think is true, but it's not true. It pushes it up so we can see it. And then, through the breath, we can let that go. But just sitting in your own heart energy raises your frequency so much that it actually changes. It can change your day and change your life if it's a daily practice. But it's a quick thing, because a lot of people I guess a lot of people that I see have no idea about any kind of nervous system regulation or spirituality or anything like that. And so but they can all relate to that. Every single one of them can relate to, okay, close your eyes, just slow the breath, just bring your awareness, feel, and put your hand on your heart, and you can feel that kind of thing. That only takes 5 minutes, but they can all relate to that, and they can see how quickly you can shift your emotional state and your state of being, just with that process, having intention, being willing, and allowing. So that and then so that's a way that you can, identify, what am I feeling? What is this feeling?
Yeah. It's all these are all great techniques for coming back to an awareness of your body. I mean, really, that's it's like step one. And my work is all through breath work and nature nature relationships, and how do you get connected with your body? You bring your awareness to your breath and really find out what's happening, because it can tell you a lot. But I'm interested to know anyone's experiences about discerning the difference between, how do you know when you're reacting coming from an old wound or fear, and versus allowing sort of a deeper wisdom to come through from the body? Does anyone have an experience? Yeah, Candida?
Well, fear is a contracting emotion, right?
Yeah.
You will feel contraction. You'll feel contraction in your stomach, in your body, anywhere you will feel it, the contraction. But coming from a truth or a wisdom is expansive.
Mm.
And so you will feel a lightness. Again, it's identifying your feelings,
Yeah.
but that does take practice to know what you're feeling and all of that, like we were saying. So it's, are you feeling contracted? An easy thing. Am I feeling contracted or am I feeling expanded? And just take a moment to tune in. That's very quick. And I believe that's sure and true.
Yeah, and it relates back to your example of walking into that environment that you were going to work in and going, oh, this isn't right for me. Yeah.
Yes, I was feeling so, good. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Joanne, did you want to add something?
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I would have said, Candida said, but also coming from a person that was always in reactive, and that was from my wounded space, trauma wounded space. I had to relearn, but I think I had to understand where it was coming from first, not just like, oh yeah, this is a wound that I'm working through. It was, why am I reacting? And then I would take time to look internally at what that was about, and give that little one so much love and so much compassion to understand her. What is she looking for? What is she crying out for? Attention, because she never had it. And coming from that place and being able to, I guess, recalibrate the trauma, and also being able to recondition myself to stop before I actually reacted, and work with the emotion that was coming up. And that was really hard. That was a practice, because when we're reacting, it's like automatic. There's sort of like, there is no time. It's in that moment, right? But until I understood that it was not who I was, that's not me. That's just a past part of me that was still carrying that wound. And when I recognized that, when I worked on that a lot, I was able to come from a place of heart, like Candida's speaking about, but from a place of really recommunicating it in a different way, being able to speak from love, not fear, that you were talking about. That fear would take over like that, and I'd be like, and that was like, my whole family was like that. So it was a conditioned thing that, that we'd all been through through our past experiences, that were from the reactive space. And when I come from a place of love and still speaking, this is what is happening for me, specifically in my relationship, I was met. I was met with love.
Yeah.
And understanding and compassion as well. So not only giving it to myself, but the other person could see that this is bigger than what they even could imagine. And they were willing to meet me. So I think that's really important, to notice how you react.
And how your body is feeling when that reaction happens. Like, it's like kind of all going on at the same time. Once you learn it's the skill of going, I'm just going to step out of my reaction in my mind and go into what's happening in my body. Oh man, I feel so tense.
Yeah.
Or, I feel like I could just, like, there's this itchy, scratchy, irritating energy coming through, or, I've got a pain somewhere. But then also recognizing that and allowing and going, that's okay, because that's how I learned to survive in this body. And some people are so out of their bodies because it is a safety mechanism. But then alongside that, also doing the practices that Sarah was talking about around, well, how do you flip that and don't keep reacting? That you know, you can come into your body, get connected from the universe, from the earth, go down through the chakras, you know, whatever works for you, but then really start coming back into alignment with that, and you shift at some point. Well, I shifted from some point from always being reactive mode to seeing myself in that and going, well, that's now how I want to be. What do I need to do to change it? And then doing the practices, you know, doing the work on releasing the energy of the old wounds, but also doing the practices to help me maintain that ongoing. Yeah. Sarah, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, just like you, one of my examples is in hindsight. So I lived in New York City for 22 years and I worked hard, played hard. It's an intense city that never sleeps. There's constant noise and stranger danger and just a lot of energies. And you're always on alert, even in the office, even when you're sleeping at night, because there's still horns blaring and sirens and whatever else, doors slamming. And so your nervous system is always in a flight mode, right? And you're always on edge. Your adrenal glands are always going on, and you don't know anything but a stressful sort of existence. And when I hit my breaking point about 4 years ago now, you know, I went to nature and I did a lot of extensive healing and a lot of work, as I alluded to a little bit, and a basis for the 3 books that I'll be writing and that will be coming out. But now when I go back to New York, which is seldom, I feel it again. And it's like, ugh, oh, it's too much. It's overwhelming. And I grip and I'm nervous and I'm ready to fight and I'm ready to punch. And I'm just like, get me out of here. I don't like it. So only now I realize it. But when I was in it for so long, I didn't realize it. So that's how I know I shifted. And that's when it's better for me now to identify it, because it's like, I don't want to feel that way. I want to go back to center. I want to be back to like more fullness, more groundedness, more awareness in a conscious state that's flowing and at ease.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all on all on that path in different ways, and we all had different catalysts to move us forward into changing something. But I think if you were to we're nearly at the end of time. If you would just give a summary of what's the most impactful thing that someone could do moving forward around getting back into their body, using their body as a listening stick, if you like, to and honouring that to have more information that can inform how you can be living life authentically. Did anyone want to start? Yeah, Candida.
Well, for me, and in my experience, it would be creating the coherence between the mind and the heart, because you can have arguments between your mind will tell you one thing, but your heart will be telling you something else. But the heart is like a soft voice that's always there. The mind is really loud. And it's about understanding that we are not our thoughts. Our mind is there to serve us. We need it. But the truth lies in our heart. So if we can get the mind and the heart to agree and come into coherence and balance, then they can work together, and then the truth can emerge from that without the fear, because the mind is there to protect and all of that, and it has good intentions, but there's a lot of fear going on there. So just something like the heart, something that you can do that doesn't take a long time, the heart, because a lot of people won't spend a lot of time, you know, bringing the doing the heart-mind coherence, just 5 minutes with the breath, and then just allowing the truth to sort of, because the truth will emerge once we allow it. It's about us putting ourselves into that state of beingness, regulating our own nervous system just by a few breaths. 3 breaths will do it. And knowing that we don't have to spend a lot of time trying to get there. We can do it instantaneously. And it takes, you know, a bit of practice, but not much. And then we can basically live from the heart. And I think that's what the world is trying to do. That's what we're being led to do. That's what the consciousness of the planet is changing in order for us to do by getting all these different light codes and things coming in to bring us to our heart, you know, by seeing what's not okay.
Yeah.
So that we can.
Yeah. So having that heart and mind agree, I love that.
Yes.
And it's a 5-minute practice to be done every day if you choose to. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Candida. That's so true. Joanne.
I love that too. It's such an important practice, even 5 minutes. But I was going to say similar, just checking in with yourself a few times a day. Just where am I at? How am I feeling? What am I experiencing in my body? And you can do that several times. I teach, set your reminder and call it your check-in and see what's going on, because it creates more awareness. The more you do it, the more you condition yourself to feel. So yeah, just doing that check-in every single day. I also have a powerful plan, powerful planner. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's helps women to stay on the path. It's got the gratitude. It's got all the practices that to remind them that they can do these things at any given moment. It only takes a minute, and starting their day in the best possible way, because we have got the power, we have got the wisdom, we know, our bodies know. We just have to, like you said, take that time to stop and just listen and allow yourself the space to practice and receive. Relax, release, and receive are my 3 R's.
Beautiful.
We can't receive until we relax and release, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, stay open to receive. Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's a great tip to do that checking in process daily, because that creates awareness, as you said. Yeah. Sarah, what would you like to end with?
Yeah, I have a great beginner's tip. So go find a very quiet spot in the woods or in nature somewhere along the water, the river, wherever you'd like to go that's quiet, and sit down and be present with the land. And then what you can do is you start breathing through one nostril, hold it, let go, exhale out of the other nostril. Now breathe out of that one, hold it, exhale, and keep going until you start to calm your brain. And only then, when you're in this meditative state, in this beautiful nature setting you chose, start with your 5 senses now. You'll see, what is it? How many things can I hear? 5 things I can hear. So each one you identify. I hear the rustling of the wind. I hear, whatever. And then 4 things you can smell, 3 things you can taste, 2 things you can touch, and 1 thing you can, see, even though your eyes are closed. So, I forget what the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but generally you will, each sense, you pay mind to it, and you try to figure it out and find it and observe it with your mind's eye. And at the very end, you open all senses at the same time. Try to hear, sense, feel, smell, taste all at once. And then at that point, you realize your brain is now in this sort of deeper meditative state, and you can start going inward and being aware of your body from within. I think that's a really good beginner's technique right there.
It's fantastic beginner's technique. Thank you, Sarah. And very much in alignment with the way I work as well. So I was going to say, and as is everyone here, I think we're all kind of on the same page, just looking at it slightly different angles. I was going to say that next time you have to make a decision about something, and obviously the mind takes over and there's circumstances in your life, but remember to actually give your body time to give you the information about that decision. So sit quietly, maybe going to Sarah's scenario of sitting in the woods quietly, opening up your senses, and then inviting, if I was to listen to my body, what decision would I make around this issue, and see how that informs you and where you might step out. So it's something that I do quite often. I do quite often now, and I find that it's always the right decision. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, beautiful women from all around the world. And I really appreciate you, and appreciate you putting your efforts into coming on today. And I'm going to hand back to Sophia to close.
And thank you, Jennylee. And what an amazing conversation. I've been sitting here and like all these tips and techniques, it's so very true. Just listening to our body is so important. And I love all the techniques, especially going out in nature and resetting all the 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 things. Great stuff, Sarah. Thank you. So yes, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Candida. Thank you, Joe, for joining us, and Jennylee, and for everyone who is watching. Do click on the links below. Reach out to these amazing women who have just spent an hour of their life sharing the wisdom about how we can be authentically ourselves in our bodies, looking after our bodies, listening to its signals. Do click on also the link and find out more about Sacred You. And for all our upcoming Wisdom Circles, Jennylee will be back next month, same time next month, for number 9 in the series. Looking forward to that. And wherever you are, have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.